What's up, everybody? Let's do another live edition of this YouTube channel. Thiago Ramos asked a great question in the last video I did about what does Highrise do? Do we work remotely? How do we manage employees? Do we meet daily? I'll answer some of those questions. So first of all, yeah, we're a completely remote company. There's two of us in Chicago. One of us is in Indiana, comes to Chicago sometimes, but works remotely. Everyone else, there's 7 of us total, the rest of us work remotely. So it's just like me and my wife, who's the COO of Highrise. We work together in one location frequently, although sometimes, there is an office that we have, we rent an office nearby, and sometimes one of us is in the office. So predominantly, we're a remote company. We don't meet daily. I mean, we're in, being small, we do meet inside Slack constantly, but we're not, I've been in organizations before that have kind of a stand-up meeting constantly. We don't. We do use a Slack bot called Geekbot, which asks us the typical questions like, what did you do yesterday? What are you going to do today? Is there anything blocking you? That's been a little handy, but to tell you the truth, not all of us fill it out all the time. I don't fill it out all the time. I don't love stand-up meetings. I don't love that constant nag. So here's what we do. So I've talked about this on this vlog before. I've written about it before, but I'll go into some depth about it here again, kind of briefly. But we talk about our process as trains. I mean, there's cycles, there's sprints, whatever kind of lingo you use, but I've really enjoyed kind of thinking about them as train schedules. Just like trains, you know what time a train is going to go out the door, right? At 11 o'clock every day, there's going to be a train, and you're going to either be on it or you're not. And so we've really committed to this concept of we're going to be shipping something, every couple weeks or every 3 weeks. We've kind of changed whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but we commit to we're going to send out a newsletter on Tuesday. There better be something on that newsletter. And so, when it gets really close to the end of that cycle, that train, we better make sure we're on that thing. And so there's a little bit of hustle involved. And if we can't get the project we're doing, if it's a big project, we can't get it done for the train, for the newsletter, well, we better get something else on there. We better find smaller projects. And so that's what we kind of organize around. That's how we kind of communicate with each other about these trains. We meet every 2 weeks to kind of go over our train. We usually use just Trello to kind of manage that process of well, what are we working on now? What's in development? What's in production? What's going to be in the newsletter? Some of the stuff isn't even announceable that we work on, right? If we're working on an infrastructure change that we're not even going to tell anybody about because it's not really newsworthy, we kind of discuss that, every 2 weeks. We use GitHub issues a lot, where we're kind of just tracking. Support usually uses GitHub issues to kind of track a lot of hot things that are happening constantly in support. And we're just, Lynette as a COO, she's kind of a project manager, a product manager, kind of just making sure we've got enough stuff in the pipeline in terms of, is this newsletter going to have, if it's just got one little tiny thing, well, then that's going to be a fail. Hey guys, we've only got one little tiny thing in the works. Let's get at least a couple more tiny things, if we're getting close to the deadline. Or, if we've got the whole cycle ahead of us, what big thing are we going to work on now? She's kind of in charge of making sure we're we're paying attention to our trains. So she's really just kind of guiding that. Someone's got to. Before she was around, it was me. It was constantly focused on the train. What's on the train today, guys? What's on the train? Anybody got any ideas of what we're going to release? And so we use those. I mean, GitHub issues to kind of track the support stuff, Trello to track some of the, the loftier goals that we have about features that we want to do. But that's what we do, just a 2-week meeting instead of daily meetings. Fridays we meet just to talk about the positives. I know a lot of cultures like to have these retrospectives in which they usually go over what worked, what didn't work. And I've been in these organizations, and usually those Friday meetings, those retrospectives are just complaint fests. You end the week on this thing where you're just well, this didn't work. I wish the organization did this better, blah, blah, blah. And to me, it's heart killing. It's soul killing. To end your day just complaining about work sucks. And so we made our Friday meeting just to be not negative, to be positive, to talk about what you enjoyed this week and what you're going to do on the weekend. Like focus on family, focus on friends, focus on the stuff that you're going to do to relax. And it's a nicer way to end the day. Like I don't mind getting feedback about what's not working at all. Like let that happen, but I don't want to end the week on it. I don't want to keep focusing on just this negative stuff at the end of the week. I just don't think it's healthy. And what else? I mean, that's about it. I mean, as 7 people, it's one of those things that we don't need a lot of organization, and so we're kind of blessed that we can kind of run a little bit, kind of crazy. We don't have the processes and the workflows that a lot of other people do who are even like 15 people, strong. Like with just 7, there's a lot of stuff that we can just do and kind of screw up, but it doesn't really matter. And, all the typical stuff, Google Calendar to know when people are out. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about people's vacation. We say everybody's got an unlimited vacation policy so that really people don't have to really worry about reporting it or scheduling it. That might, I've debated whether or not we should kind of focus more on just like making sure everybody takes a good enough amount of vacation, but I think we are, like we've been paying attention, like people are taking a healthy amount of vacation. There's nobody like overworking. We don't have overtime. Another thing that we do is we make sure support has one engineer that's kind of going to be, we call it on call, but it's not so much like they're going to get a call or a page in the middle of the night. It's just that so that support isn't constantly interrupting everybody on the team with a problem. There's one person who's going to get the interruptions this week, and next week it's going to be someone else. So, because those interruptions hurt. If you're kind of focused on getting a big goal done, being pinged constantly by support, being like, hey, someone's having problems getting to something, someone can't do this, it's annoying and it ruins your productivity. But if you know it's going to be you, then at least it doesn't ruin everybody's productivity. And so we try to focus the distractions to just one person at a time, and then it moves on to someone else the next week. But those are some of the things that we use to kind of manage the team. In terms of, there's a lot of other kind of stuff we could talk about management, but I've already gone about 7 minutes talking about that. But so those are some of the core things. If you guys got more questions, please comment away. Happy to answer more questions about how we manage a team remotely. I love it, to tell you the truth. I've been running remote organizations since I've been starting companies, and I wouldn't have it another way. Like I don't like working in an office all day. I don't like making people have to commute. That time you spend on a train or a bus or a car that you could instead apply to like your family. I mean, my God, that is precious time to kind of spend doing nothing or just listening, just listening to random podcasts. Like that stuff you should have that time back. So, I don't know. I hope you guys dig the video. Let me know if you got any more questions. Email me too, nate.cotney@gmail.com. Happy to answer any questions. I try to answer everybody's email or answer them on YouTube if I can. And I hope you guys are having a great start to the holidays. Thank you so much for your time spending it with me. And have a good night, everybody.